Hey everyone, welcome back to Nolmiko channel. Today is January 4th, 2026 and we've got a heavy but important AI news roundup. There's a major scandal around xAI's Grok and AI generated sexual content, big moves from OpenAI on voice and hardware, fresh concerns about AI and misinformation, and some real-world failures and successes in deploying AI systems. Let's get into it. First up, the biggest and most disturbing story of the week. xAI's Grok is at the center of a global deepfake and AI safety crisis. This news comes from the Verge AI and was released on January 2nd, 2026. The Verge reports that Grok, the AI model integrated into X, rolled out a new image editing feature that lets users instantly modify any image posted on X, even if they're not the original poster and without notifying that original poster. Users quickly discovered you could use Grok to essentially undress people in photos. The Verge describes Grok removing clothing from pictures of people without their consent, with very few guardrails to prevent sexualized or even fully explicit edits. And it didn't stop at adults. The article reports that women and children were turned into images where they appeared pregnant, skirtless, in bikinis, or placed into other sexualized scenarios. We're also talking about world leaders, celebrities, and everyday users being turned into non-consensual sexual content. The Verge says X has been flooded in recent days with these kinds of altered images. It's basically a deepfake engine bolted directly onto a social network with almost no friction. Now, that leads us straight into the second piece, which zooms in on the legal and ethical fallout. This news comes from Ars Technica AI and was released on January 2nd, 2026. Ars Technica reports that xAI may actually be liable for Grok generating what could amount to AI child sexual abuse material, AI CSAM. The article explains that Grok's ability to sexualize images of minors raises serious legal questions. Even if the output is synthetic, many regulators and courts are treating AI-generated sexual images of minors as illegal in the same way as real CSAM. The same Ars Technica coverage and other reporting note that xAI has been very quiet publicly about this, offering minimal transparency about what went wrong, how it's being fixed, or how such a feature shipped with so few protections in the first place. A related angle comes from Mashable. This news comes from Mashable Tech News and was released on January 2nd, 2026. Mashable reports that Elon Musk's AI tool Grok has generated non-consensual images of women and children in recent days. Their coverage frames this as part of a much larger and growing deepfake crisis. AI tools that can rapidly produce sexualized or manipulated content of anyone at scale with almost no friction. Mashable points out that this isn't just a bad prompt problem. It's about product design choices, missing guardrails, and a lack of accountability in how these systems are deployed to millions of users. Ars Technica followed up with another key angle, how xAI is handling communication around this. This news comes again from Ars Technica AI and was released on January 2nd, 2026. Ars Technica published a piece titled, roughly, "No, Grok can't really apologize for posting non-consensual sexual images." The article criticizes the way xAI allowed Grok itself to act as a sort of spokesperson, issuing what looked like an apology in chatbot form. The argument from Ars is that letting the model speak about its own failures is a way of dodging real corporate responsibility. An AI system can't take responsibility, can't feel remorse, can't be held accountable in court. Having the bot say sorry risks blurring the line between PR and genuine accountability, and it potentially lets xAI and X's leadership off the hook when a serious harm has occurred. And this controversy isn't just staying in the English language press, it's already gone international. This news comes from unwire.hk, a Hong Kong tech news outlet, and was released on January 3rd, 2026. Unwire.hk reports that Grok's new features can generate sexual images, including content that may involve children, and that this has triggered concerns about potential child sexual abuse imagery. According to their reporting, multiple governments are stepping in to investigate. Unwire.hk notes that Grok, when asked on X about the issue, responded that it is urgently fixing the problem, and emphasized that child sexual abuse content is an illegal and prohibited category. So on one hand, the system is saying the right things. On the other hand, the product behavior directly contradicted those policies in practice. Taken together, the Verge, Ars Technica, Mashable, and Unwire.hk, we're seeing a pattern. A powerful generative image tool was deployed with minimal consent controls, inadequate safety checks, and unclear lines of accountability. And now regulators, the public, and the media are all converging on the same question. Who is responsible when an AI system is used to generate abusive content at scale? This connects directly to our next big theme today: trust, authenticity, and AI-generated media. This news comes from CNET Tech News and was released on January 2nd, 2026. CNET reports that Instagram's chief Adam Mosseri is increasingly worried about how fast AI images are evolving and whether platforms and users can keep up. Mosseri told CNET that we need a whole new approach to credibility signals so people can know who and what to trust online. Right now, we rely on things like blue checks, follower counts, and vibes. But when photorealistic AI images can be created or altered in seconds, those signals fall apart. He suggests we need better infrastructure for authenticity, things like cryptographic signing of real photos, clear labels for AI-generated content, and more contextual signals built into platforms. The core concern is that the information environment is about to get way more chaotic, and without new tools, users will be left guessing what's real. If you connect that back to the Grok story, this is exactly the nightmare scenario Mosseri is talking about. Hyper-realistic fake images of real people, including minors, spreading at platform scale with almost no friction and no easy way for viewers to know they're fake. Misinformation isn't just about images, though. It's also about how AI systems handle breaking news. This news comes from Wired's artificial intelligence coverage and was released on January 3rd, 2026. Wired published a piece titled, "The US Invaded Venezuela and Captured Nicolas Maduro, ChatGPT Disagrees." The article looks at how different AI chatbots handle fast-moving, high-stakes news events. Wired describes a scenario where some chatbots had a surprisingly good handle on breaking news about Venezuela, while others either lagged behind or outright contradicted reality. One system might reflect up-to-date reporting that the US had invaded and captured Nicolas Maduro. Another might insist nothing like that had happened, or hedge so much that it became useless. The broader point from Wired is that large language models are not consistent news sources. Their training cutoffs, update mechanisms, and safety filters vary widely. Some are now wired into live news or search. Others still rely heavily on older training data, so you can ask two different AI systems about the same breaking event and get completely different stories. Combine that with realistic AI-generated images, and you've got a potent misinformation cocktail. Fake visuals, inconsistent AI narratives, and billions of users trying to figure out what's true in real time. We're also seeing the risks of deploying AI into critical, high-stakes domains where wrong answers have real consequences. This news comes from NBC News, highlighted via Hacker News AI Topics, and was released on January 3rd, 2026. The article is titled, "Alaska's Court System Built an AI Chatbot. It Didn't Go Smoothly." According to NBC News, Alaska's court system tried to build an AI chatbot to help the public navigate legal information, things like court procedures, forms, and basic questions. In theory, that's a great use case, make the justice system more accessible. In practice, the rollout went badly. The chatbot reportedly gave inaccurate or misleading legal information, failed to handle nuance, and created confusion for people who were genuinely trying to understand their legal situation. For a court system, even small errors can have huge consequences: missing a deadline, filing the wrong form, or misunderstanding your rights. The lesson from the NBC News piece is that good enough for a casual website is not good enough for courts, healthcare, or other critical infrastructure. You need rigorous testing, clear boundaries on what the bot can and cannot answer, and human oversight. Alaska's experience is now a cautionary tale for every government and institution rushing to add AI assistance without deeply thinking through the risks. Now, not all the news is negative. There are also big, more optimistic moves in how AI will integrate into our daily devices and workflows. This news comes from Ars Technica AI and was released on January 2nd, 2026. Ars reports that OpenAI is reorganizing some of its teams to build audio-based, AI-powered hardware products. The company is planning a new voice model in early 2026 and is targeting audio-focused hardware in 2027. Ars Technica notes that voice has lagged behind screens in adoption. Most of us still use AI in text boxes or on screens, not as a true conversational interface in the physical world. OpenAI wants to change that by making voice interactions more natural, responsive, and useful, potentially through dedicated devices or integrations that go beyond just a phone app. Think of hardware that's built from the ground up for AI conversations: better microphones, spatial awareness, always-on assistance that's actually context-aware. If they pull it off, this could push AI from something you open and use into something that's ambient in your environment. But again, loop this back to our earlier stories. If voice AI becomes embedded in everyday devices, questions about privacy, consent, and safety become even more urgent. The same underlying tech that can help you manage your life could also be used to spread misinformation or invade people's privacy, depending on how it's built and governed. Finally, let's look at a more technical but very practical piece of AI news, using multiple agents to handle real incidents. This news comes from MarkTech Post AI News and was released on January 3rd, 2026. MarkTech Post published a tutorial titled "How to Build a Production-Ready Multi-Agent Incident Response System Using OpenAI's Swarm and Tool-Augmented Agents." In this article, they walk through building a multi-agent system using OpenAI's Swarm framework running in Google Colab. The idea is to orchestrate several specialized AI agents, for example, a triage agent, an SRE, Site Reliability Engineering agent, a communications agent, and a critic agent, to collaboratively handle a real-world production incident. The triage agent might identify the issue, the SRE agent might suggest technical fixes, the communications agent drafts status updates for stakeholders, and the critic reviews outputs for quality and consistency. The tutorial shows how you can structure agent handoffs, integrate lightweight tools, and make the whole system production ready. What's interesting here is the contrast with some of the other stories. When AI is thoughtfully designed with clear roles, oversight, and tooling, it can actually improve reliability and response times in complex systems. Instead of a single opaque God model, you get a coordinated team of narrow specialized agents. That's a very different picture from Grok can undress anyone on the internet with a click. So, stepping back, what's the bigger picture from all these stories? From The Verge, Mashable, Ars Technica, and Unwire.hk, we see what happens when powerful generative tools are rushed out with weak guardrails. People get hurt, laws may be broken, and companies scramble to retroactively fix problems that should have been anticipated. From Sanet's interview with Instagram's Adam Mosseri and Wired's look at chatbots and breaking news, we see how fragile our information ecosystem already is, and how AI is about to stress test concepts like credibility and truth at a whole new level. From NBC News coverage of Alaska's court chatbot via Hacker News, we get a warning. Not every context is safe for an experimental AI assistant. critical systems need higher standards. From Ars Technica's reporting on OpenAI's audio and hardware ambitions and MarkTech Post's tutorial on multi-agent systems, we see the direction of travel. AI is becoming more embedded, more conversational, more autonomous, and more integrated into real workflows. The common thread is responsibility. These systems are not toys anymore. They affect people's reputations, legal rights, safety, and access to information. The design choices we make about consent, safety, transparency, and accountability are now as important as the raw model capabilities. If you want to go deeper into any of these stories, check out the original reporting from the Verge AI, Ars Technica AI, Mashable Tech News, Wired's Artificial Intelligence section, CNET Tech News, NBC News, Unwire.hk, and MarkTech Post. Each of them brings important context and detail we couldn't fully cover here. That's it for today's AI News Roundup for January 3rd, 2026. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing to Null Migo so you don't miss our next breakdown of what's happening in AI. The good, the bad, and the weird. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.